Hello guys, you are welcome to my YouTube channel, Make Them Tech. Today we want to look at something very interesting that is going to trill your mind, something that I would like to dedicate to programmers, developers out there that would like to add Ruby to their tech stack or that wants to switch or port to Ruby. And that tells you that the title of this tutorial is, okay, let me write my first Ruby code in this tutorial. That's a puts Ruby a quick learn for programmers who want to switch or port or add Ruby to their tech stack. Okay, so let's run this code. Let's run this code. Okay, here you have it. Ruby, a quick learn for programmers who want to switch. Okay, so let me take you through what Ruby is all about. I have some things I've already put down here. We have Ruby syntax is clean. I want you to know that I can assure you that Ruby is just like you are writing your normal English language. You know, you don't need too much ceremony, all those different, you can do without them in Ruby. And then you don't need to always put semicolons at the end of your statements in Ruby, especially if you are writing on the different lines. So that's Ruby for you. And then you can comment your code with hash character. And if you want to do what we call multiple lines comments, just put your equal sign with your assignment operator equal to with begin keyword, yeah. And then also at the end of the code, you also put that same thing. But this time around, you change that begin to end. So, and that's going to comment your code. Then you don't need indentation in Ruby. It's not that significant, it's optional. You can, though, for your code base to be readable, you can, maybe when you are writing your methods, you are writing something within a function, you can try and just maintain this, a light indentation, just for it to be readable. But you don't really need it because Ruby doesn't have anything to do with that. So unlike Python, whereby indentation is something that you have to do. Everything in Ruby is an object. You'll be surprised to hear that. I know you might not even be surprised, but I want to tell you that an operator in Ruby is even an object. Yes. So there's nothing like primitive values or whatever. Everything's an object. Everything's an object, everything's a class. That's Ruby for you. And there's no difference between expression and statement in Ruby. Everything evaluates to true except false and nil. That's Ruby for you. Brackets, whether you call it braces or bracket, they're optional in Ruby. But you know, sometimes when you are writing and you want to probably, for example, somebody that is writing the method and wants to put an argument, and you know that something might happen to your code at the long run. So you can put, or if you are coming from a language that you are already used to that, okay, but it's actually optional in Ruby, and that makes Ruby Ruby beautiful, elegant, because you don't have to use any of those things. And then Ruby is case sensitive. Your capital A is the same, it's different from your lowercase a. Uppercase A is different from your lowercase a. Ruby ignores white spaces. That's it. So then Ruby uses snake case for declaration as best practice. That's it. You know, like for example, in JavaScript, you use what we call camel case. If you want to declare a variable, you want to declare one or two things in your application, or you saw in your code base, you do that. But in Ruby, you can follow the best practice. Even there are some operators and some other things that are snake case in Ruby. So that tells you that you should follow same. And then you have in a statement like conditional loop statement control structure, functions, etc. You use end to mark the end of the statement. What I want to say is that, you know, anytime you are writing a function or you are writing a loop statement, you use end keyword to mark the end of that statement. So the Ruby uses this ASCII model. Okay, so without wasting our time, let me proceed to taking you through some salient things that Ruby offers or puts on the table. So when you want to output something to the screen or to your terminal, there are three ways you can do that. You can use put, you can use print, and you can just use your normal P. So for put, it will output the value and add a new line to it. But in the case of a print method, you will have it on a single line, nothing like a new line. Let me quickly demonstrate that. Okay, that's what we have here. Okay, let me demonstrate that this way. If I put something like put 4 and I put something like put 7. So let me save it and then let me clear this guy. So you can see it 4, 7. But if I change this to print, let me clear this. You can see it 4, 7. You can see it on the same line. Okay. So then also we have P. So this one is just to display a string. You already know what your value is and then just play. So methods in Ruby can either be with or without a bracket. Yeah. So it's not compulsory, but if you are writing maybe like a single line code and it involves you chaining different methods together, you've got to add a bracket. Yes. So chaining different methods, keywords, operators, and so on. So that's Ruby for you. Then your variable is declared without any keyword. You know, like in JavaScript, you use const, you use let. And so in Java, in Ruby, you don't need any of such. We'll get to how you can declare different types of variables in Ruby. Then we have get. Is used to get input of a data. This get is a method, and like I told you earlier, you can either put this or that. So you can either put this or you don't. So you can just say get, and it already knows that, okay, you want to get the data that the user wants to input. And then you have def as a keyword used in defining a variable or in declaring a variable. So, and once you declare, so Ruby sees this as the beginning of your code, and then end marks the end of that block. So the beginning of the block, the function block, and then this marks the end of the function block. Okay, so okay, let me quickly just do something because a def, that says def func. Yeah, let me use method here, because you know the one thing with Ruby is that Ruby, you say function, you say method. So you know, moving doesn't do a lot of all these detailed differences and all these things. So everything is just an object, everything is class and like. So if I put something like puts, so then my string normally you already know that one. Let's just say maybe school, and then you come here and put end. And that's it. So this is a function. You understand that if I run this thing, I will not give you any result because it's not here. So I believe, you know, programmers, developers that have been writing C#, Java, JavaScript, Python, and code will relate with this. So you just put, so you invoke your method, and that gives you, so school. And don't forget, if I still put my bracket, it works. Yeah, I have it here, school. Okay, so let's go to the next thing that is on the list. To convert, you know, you can convert to float, you can convert to a string, so all these things are normal things that you can play with in Ruby. Then also we have ways to declare a logic statement. So use your normal if keyword, and then when you do that, it gives you the beginning of the block, the if block, and then you use end to mark the end of the conditional block. Then, you know, when it comes to one-liner, forget it. Ruby is one of the best languages that can be used to achieve one-liner. So, for example, now if you want to now put it on a single line, just put then. Just put this keyword then you are good to go. So let's write something here about, if I say, I can say if, let me just say if true, and just say print true, then the end. So it's nothing serious. It will give you two. So this is just how to write something. And if if I don't want to, if I want to do one line, I don't forget to just put your then, and that's all. Okay, so the variables now, there are 4 different types of variables in Ruby. We have the local variable, global variable, instance variable, then class variable. So talking about local variable, just use your normal small letter word and don't put anything. Just have it there and you have a local variable. And we are expected to use your local variable within your function and within your method or within maybe you are using it inside a control block or whatever. So, but when you talk about global variable, then you need to precede that variable name with a $sign. Then the instance variable here to is where you want to be specific to you want to be specific in the sense that you have created an object and you want to declare some variables within it, and you create an instance variable. The same thing applicable to class, but this time around you double that at character, the at character. So what else? So I don't think this needs too much demonstration. So let's quickly go to okay, yes, let me just do something. Let me do a play around that. Okay, for example, if I have something like I want to declare a global variable now, num. I just say num is called true. Okay, for you to try this, because some people, because this time around, if you are coming from a language like JavaScript, if care is not taken, you'll be having some errors in your code. For example, now if I do something like num like this, let's say I say 7, normally in JavaScript, that in fact, the fact that you didn't even put a maybe var or whatever, it's more like a global variable. But even in JavaScript, anything you declare outside, whether you put var or whatever, is already a global variable. But in Ruby will not tell you, Ruby will tell you no. So I'm deliberate in this case. For example, if I say def, let's say I'm just saying add, then I just say put since I'm not, let me just use print num plus 5. And that's end. Okay, so let me now call it add. So let's invoke this function. And this is completely undefined local variable. It's expecting this to be declared within this function, but it's not found. So, but if I change this to a global variable and then I bring it here, so you're going to see what's going to happen now. Gives me my answer to be 12. So that is variable stuff in JavaScript. In Ruby. I actually write JavaScript. So how to display each content of an array. So we have, should I call it 2 ways or different ways you can do some repetitive tasks in Ruby. For example, you can use your each do, or better still, instead of, because your do marks the beginning of your block, and then the end marks the end of the iteration block. So if you want to iterate probably or do some repetitive stuff, so this is what you just have to do. Let me come here. Let me just do. So let's say we have something like, so if you have something like maybe 1, 2, 3, and I put dot each. So I have to put do to mark the beginning of that block. Then I can put my iterator. Let's say here, let's say I. And then I'll come and put that's I, and then end. So if I come here, I put this and I put this like this, it's going to give me 1, 2, 3. So that's it. And then I can decide to remove this do and change it to a kind of curly bracket or braces stuff. And that means this opening brace is the beginning of the block, and this closing brace is the end of the block. So if I still do something like this, it will still work. Let's try it again. Okay, 1, 2, 3. So that's about looping or iteration in Ruby. And then you can also do for loop in Ruby. Let's try something like, for example, now I can say, let me say num, let me just say num underscore array is equal to like this. So let me just say, let me put a string. Let me just say spoon, knife. Cool. Let's just leave it like that. So if I want to, I can say for I in num underscore array. Understand? Then I can say put I end it. So here now, this is the beginning of the block. It's already aware that yes, you have initiated an iteration block. Then this is what should happen, and then this marks the end of the iteration block. So let me clear this and then run it again. So you have it spoon knife. So that's it. And then you can also use do. For example, now if I want to do some, like I said the other time, I was talking about one-liner. That if you want to do one-liner in Ruby, Ruby is one of the best. So what I will just do is I can just do something like this. I just say do, and then my end here. So that's all. And then let me clear it. So let's have it. Sorry. So spoon knife. So that's it for one liner. Okay, so the next thing is maybe I think okay, yeah, we have some repetitive tax block stuff in Ruby. I can just do something like, for example, now if I do something like maybe 3 dot times, I just say do just put so it's going to output 5 3 times. Okay, that's it. So that's Ruby. So it means that this, whatever you put in this block will be executed based on the number of times that is here. If I put 8, you see that 5 will be released into this terminal 5 times and 8 times. Oh, sorry. Okay, so you can see all down like that. Okay, so then moving to okay, so we also have a kind of a range operator in Ruby. For example, now I can okay, so we have some ways by which we can check for data type. Let me just put something like maybe say 2 here, and then I can just say something like puts is ARR dot is underscore A. Then I put this and I put array here like this. Okay, so then you have something like this, say true, because that's it. So you can also do it for string, you can do it for class and co. So we have string, this and that hash. Okay, so those are the things we have to do. Now let's go to OOP in Ruby. So Ruby is okay, let's just do something. Let's do something interesting on there. Just say we can just say class, let me just say add, and then let me just say let me put a method, and that's let me say addition. Let me put an argument. Something beautiful about Ruby is that here and I could have just put my bracket to declare my parameters so that the user will put the argument. So, but in Ruby, just like you're writing your normal English, then just put puts x plus y. So end it. So let me end my class also. So here now I can just say new. Let me say another. Okay, yes, I can say new add is equal to add dot new. So that's how to. So now I've created an instance. Sorry, I've created an instance of this object, this add class. And that's it. So meaning that I will inherit whatever that is there. So meaning I can also say new add. So for those of you that you already know about OOP, so this one is just this is a lot for you guys. So this addition, I can just put my 4, 7, and then this will give me 11, right? Yeah. So that's I'm passing this. What is this? 11. So that's it. So what else? That's Ruby. Ruby is very interesting. It's such an interesting language. Okay, we have something called symbol. There's something that, there's something that, should I call it a mystery about Ruby? Everything there is like a symbol. Yes, or everything, symbol are just like names of an instance, instant variable, names of your method, names of classes, names of an operator. All those things that you see you're using in Ruby. Ruby is using like it has like a kind of table that is using to maintain the symbol of all of them. So it's just like a symbol to make okay, all of your class, your mode, everything. And let me demonstrate something like that to you guys. If I put something like put symbol, that is dot, all then underscore symbols. So if I put something like this, and then let me clear, you see what will happen. You see this? So let me take this up. So you can see all this, you can see all the symbols that we have in Ruby. You can see them. You can see, so even that's another way by which you can quickly understand Ruby, especially if you want to get used to the syntax, some things that, okay, you don't know if it exists. You can see all this, the way you can convert things to string, to integer, to float, and the likes. You have your operators, you have conclude, you have something like this. Then, we saw this, all those things you are seeing. Array, string, float. In fact, sometimes you can even get confused there. That was you can use list, find those things that you can use to manipulate an array. You can see entries, you can see many things there, both methods, both properties, both, and this can see different things here. So you can always even check out some things, whether that thing exists in Ruby or not. So you can see some of these things. You can see, yeah, you can see. You can see this to time, you can see this. All these are maybe you can have them as method, a class, an operator, and this and that in Ruby, and they are all symbols too in Ruby. So that's it. And once you have, you can also declare it as you just put your column in front, preceding it with column, and then you have it added to this list again. So that's that. Finally, let's just write a simple algorithm like to output even numbers. Okay, so let's do something that is somehow a lazy man's work, lazy algorithm stuff. That's even. Okay, so let me just say, let's just say put. Okay, let's just put a condition. Just say if. What should we just say? But how should we even put it safe? Okay, so yeah, now let's get a parameter here. So def even, let's say, let's put it as range. So this is range. Then just put rg range. If I'm coming. Okay, so now we have to. Okay, so now let's now loop. Yeah, we just put the range here. Anything you want, we put the range here and we open it. So that's it. So def even. Okay, let me just say even. Let's just put even. No, like this. Yeah. Okay, so now let's not say for I in RG. So I've said for RG. So now say if I mode 2 is equal to 0, what do you need to do? Just put that I. Put that I, and then you end it, and then you end this, and you end it. Simple as ABC. So that's it. So, and then how do I invoke it? So, and I say even none. So let me just put 1, 10. We are done. Sharp. So now let me just, because this is more like I'm wrapping up the whole thing. So this is how you define a function. This is a keyword to defining a function in Ruby. So this is the function name, the method name, and then this is the parameter. And then this is the parameter I'm expecting a range, and that's what I've done here. So then this is a loop, the for loop I in this. So this one is going to loop from 1 to 10. And then I'm now intercepting that loop here by putting a condition that, okay, now this is what you have to output. So if this modulus 2, you already know this in programming, and it's equal to 2, that means an even number, then you bring it out, and that's all. Okay, so let me clear this, and then let's do what we have always done. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So whatever you put here as a range, you have the result. So this brings us to the end of the tutorial. Guys, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Make them tell. Please click on the subscribe button. Do it now. And also turn on the notification bell so that when we upload a new video, you can get notified. Also, if you have any question, put it down in the comment section. Also, like this video. Please share it. Let everybody see it. And God bless you. I will see you on the next one. Thank you.